In just a few minutes, small business owners can now sign up for Blackfoot Communication Services. Whether it's dependable voice options or internet services, sign up simply by visiting blackfootsmallbusiness.com. Click on the services you wish, select an installation time and date, and you're done. Small business services at the touch of your fingers. Connect to more with Blackfoot Communications and blackfootsmallbusiness.com.
Coach, we'll start with a brief synopsis of fall camp before we look ahead to Northwestern State coming in here and your initial thoughts on the Demons.
Okay, fall camp. I think we had a good off season leading up to the start of August, and I thought the work we got done in our fall practice session was good. I thought the players were really tuned in, and that makes it good. So Saturday we're into game week now, and Saturday we get to find out if our work was good and we're ready to play well.
Your initial thoughts on Northwestern State coming in here?
Well, Coach Laird has kind of turned it over there. They've got new coordinators, a lot of new players. He's been here before, so he knows what we're about. I know it was a long time ago. We don't really have, again, there's so much change there. We don't really have any idea to a degree what to prepare for. Offense, defense, a good number of transfer players coming in from a personnel standpoint. What we can tell is they look very skilled. I think they feel pretty good about the front players they have coming back on both sides of the ball, which is always a great place to start. And Coach Laird will have them. They'll be disciplined. They'll play hard. They'll be physical. But this prep is really hard for us.
Questions?
Great. See you.
Coach, when you have this 9 months of working up to this point, and then you start game planning and preparing for an opponent. So what's the mental transition like when you do have an opponent on the schedule to prepare for?
Well, I mean, it's coming, right? So there's not a huge mental change, but I think it's probably more excitement. Our kids put in a lot of work from the end of the last season to this season, like they do every year, and so they'll be excited to prepare for somebody else, get ready to play against someone else's offense, defense, kicking game rather than their own. So I'm going to see them here in a minute, but I think they'll be really excited to be in game week.
94 degrees is the high on Saturday. I don't know if Tabes has a stat or not, but I imagine that's one of the hottest games in this stadium's history. So do you do anything different to prepare for that, or how do you mitigate just the weather?
Well, I say a prayer and see if it changes. I'm not gonna. So not in charge of the weather, but the opponent probably has a bit of an advantage. They've probably I've been following the weather down there, but I'm assuming they're practicing in 90 stuff. So the heat index is high. It's going to be warm, so we need to hydrate, take care of business in that area, and it's going to be warm. But it's been warm all month. We're pretty accustomed to it.
It's on.
Bobby, coming into the fall camp quarterback competition between Lucas and Chris, have you guys named a starter for this Saturday?
We'll produce our 2D tomorrow, right? Yeah, so we'll get that out tomorrow.
Between that competition, just what have you liked from those guys as they've, Lucas is a newer face from this January, and then Chris obviously kind of working off what he did last fall.
Yeah, I mean, like any player in any sport, particularly ours, we try to get better every day. I think the spirit of that's been good with those guys. They've worked hard to improve, and it's been good, healthy competition. I think that, they've done some really good things through camp, as have some of the other guys.
kind of touched on it, but I think coaches like feeling like they know what to expect, and so with that anxiety of the unsure of what the other team's going to run in week one, things like that, how much do you rely on making those in-game adjustments, and what's that communication like within your staff when you have those situations in week one?
Yeah, there would certainly be some of that. You know, the first week's always a little unnerving, maybe, just because you don't know your own team. And then when you add the uncertainty of the prep for these guys, where we just don't know what we're going to get. You get 2 new coordinators, a lot of new players. We don't know what they're going to do. So there's a lot of uncertainty, and we'll have to go in the game with a kind of a basic game plan and try to work our way out of it, as you mentioned.
With them being out of the Southland, does that conference have an identity in your mind?
You know, I haven't really analyzed their conference. I've looked at these guys as best I can. So,
As you close out fall,
enough time analyzing our conference. 80-17.
as you close out fall camp within these next few days, headed into Saturday, what group have you seen improve the most, and why and how?
I don't know if I think our team's improved. I mean, that's the way you practice, right? Typical fall camp, there's some good days and bad days for each individual, probably, each group. I don't know. That's a hard question. I think we've had good work. And we're kind of, spring ball is real fundamental. Off-season is real fundamental. We get into fall camp, we're kind of in game preparation time, so we've been a lot of teamwork and not as much fundamentals, so that's kind of a hard question to answer.
Mm-hmm. And other than the QB court competition, are there any other question marks or anything you want to really get out of these last few days before headed into the first game?
No, I don't have question marks. I know our team. That doesn't mean we don't have strengths and weaknesses, but I don't have any question marks about our team. I know.
How would you currently evaluate the offensive line? What have you liked out of them the last month or so?
They hadn't played together, so they're more familiar with each other. The new guys and the younger guys probably are more familiar with the calls and the system. So each time you go through the installation, it probably helps you. So I just think they're probably more comfortable in the system than they've been.
And there's the game planning, the strategy part of all this, the preparation, but your teams have always been known for just playing so hard. How much can that sort of overcome if the opponent has some sort of element of surprise or something you don't expect?
Well, I'm a pretty firm believer that effort can get you out of some bad situations, and so you've got good players who play really hard, you have a chance to win games, no matter what you do, X's and O's wise. So hopefully we're ready to go and healthy and can go out and put a good effort out there. You don't know how games are going to go. First games are always dicey, as I mentioned.
When you look at Northwestern State offensively, are there any players or things that they do that stand out to you?
Well, we don't get to look at them, Sean. We haven't seen them.
Some of their returning players from last year.
We have no idea. They got some back. They got some that aren't. I don't know. I don't know.
You guys will achieve what you want to this season if what?
Season? We'll talk about this week's game.
Any update on 37?
Let's talk about this week's game, Sean.
Anyone else?
We're looking at Northwestern State. One of their more famous alumni is obviously Ed Orgeron, just kind of what he was able to do at LSU. Have you and Ed
I
ever
didn't either.
crossed paths or anything like that? Have you guys?
Eddie?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Any fun stories for those? Because a lot of people, when they hear Northwestern State, the one thing I've heard is Ed Orgeron and all that.
I didn't realize, I had forgotten to remember that that's where Coach went. So I'll have to give me some prep time on that.
Anybody else? Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
In just a few minutes, small business owners can now sign up for Blackfoot Communication Services. Whether it's dependable voice options or internet services, sign up simply by visiting blackfootsmallbusiness.com. Click on the services you wish, select an installation time and date, and you're done. Small business services at the touch of your fingers. Connect to more with Blackfoot Communications and blackfootsmallbusiness.com.